2 years have passed, and the Shelby family's business had grown significantly after taking over the horse races of the now-dead Billy Kimber. Thomas is not satisfied and decides to expand their criminal network to London, which is split between the Italian gang led by Darby Sabini and the Jewish gang led by Alfie Solomons. Thomas strategically decides to ally with the weaker Jewish gang and makes a grand entrance in London by thrashing Sabini's club. Sabini, in retaliation, ambushes Thomas in a dark alley with his goons. Defended by plot armor and a mysterious figure in the dark, Thomas is saved at gunpoint. A now crippled Campbell emerges and has returned as Chief of Staff of the British Intelligence Service. This time he has allied with Irish Republicans and hand-picked Thomas to carry out assassination of the Field Marshal, Henry Russell, an enemy of the state. In return, Thomas will be granted an export license and protection from the police. Polly Gray has been haunted by memories of her long-lost son. Thomas uses his connections to find her son, Michael Gray. Michael, who is equally ambitious, is enticed by the Shelby's illustrious business activities, and leaves his adopted mother to join the Shelby family. Alfie, the Jewish gang leader, and Thomas officially form an alliance, with Thomas providing muscle while Alfie provides the use of his distillery in Camden Town, London. Thomas decides to transform the family business into legal business activities and hires Polly's son, Michael, as his accountant. As part of his expansion plans, Thomas buys and trains a horse to enter into the horse race of Epsom Derby. During the horse auction, another goon of Sabini makes an attempt on Thomas's life but fails. The rapid rise of the Shelby family has caught the ire of both Alfie and Sabini. Alfie decides to betray Thomas and allied with Sabini to frame Arthur Shelby for murder during Passover, a Jewish holiday. Thomas confronts Alfie in his winery alone and is threatened at gunpoint to hand over his entire business. Thomas plays reverse Uno and claims to have hidden a grenade in his winery which will blow up if Alfie does not agree to his conditions instead. Alfie falls for his bluff and submits. Arthur goes free and reunites with his family. Michael is thrown behind bars by Campbell for the burning down of a pub. Polly, in a bid to save her son, meets with Campbell alone. Campbell abuses his authority and humiliates her in return for the freedom of her son. Michael is released but does not appreciate his mother's efforts. Thomas is angered by the lack of protection from Campbell and realizes he plans to kill him to cover up the government's involvement after the assassination is done. To spite him, Thomas looks up the now married Grace Burgess and asks her out on a date. Thomas seduces her with his charm and connections with famous people and successfully rekindles their passion. Campbell learns of what happened, and once again turns into an angry incel. He enlists the service of 3 killers from the Ulster Volunteer Force to kill Thomas once the assassination of Henry Russell is carried out. Derby Day arrives. Thomas goes with Lizzie Stark as his date, a sex worker turned secretary who is now working for him. Thomas uses Lizzie as a sex decoy and attempts to kill the field marshal while he is occupied. A fight ensues and Thomas kills him. The police are distracted by this killing and all security is diverted to the protection of the crown. Thomas takes advantage of this situation and attacks Sabini's bookies, burning all his legal betting licenses. Polly finds and traps Campbell in a phone booth, looks him in the eyes and kills him in cold blood. Campbell, nemesis of the Shelby family, finally dies. Amidst the chaos, Grace shows up at the event to find Thomas, pregnant from her one night of passion with him. Thomas is kidnapped by the hitmen hired by Campbell and taken to an isolated location to be shot and buried. In his final moments, Thomas once again turns around the situation with his plot armor as one of the gunmen is actually a spy for Winston Churchill and saves him instead. Thomas returns home and reveals his plan to get married as the screen fades to black.